All right, we'll try that again. Hi, folks. Thank you for joining us. Hello, Kimberly. Thank you for being here. I see we have a few who have joined us so far, and glad to see all of you here. So, for those of you that were in on the premiere of part 3 of the science for our cannabis induced psychosis series, what did you think? Anybody have any comments or feedback that you'd like to share about the story or about the 3-part series? It is an interesting topic to explore on social media, places like Facebook. That there's a lot of people out there who really have strong opinions about cannabis and what's legitimate and what's not, and don't want to hear anything contrary to what they already believe. It's kind of fascinating, really, and I don't really understand it, but uh, that's that's the way it's working. I don't know. It is cannabis will have you sweating. Am I sweating? Do I look like I'm sweating? I had this itch right above my eye. It's driving me nuts. Hammer Davis, good to see you here. How are things in your world, Hammer? Were you able to be a part of our premiere? Did you get to watch any of the doctor's presentation? I don't know. Catherine, are you here? Are you with us in this live event right now? She was with us yesterday, but I don't know if she will be here with us today or not. We'll see if we hear from her. You guys remember to give this a thumbs up. Allie Snide sending love to everyone. I have several episodes to catch up on. Is that episodes in the cannabis series or episodes in general? We have another fentanyl story that is going to be published tomorrow evening. I don't know if they'll be alive with it or not, but it will be published tomorrow evening as a premiere. So Hammer, did you catch the story? It's a cannabis story, kind of different. Just, you know, figured I would check. Allie, Hammer, Cindy, thank you all for being here. So, is there anyone that might be new to the channel who's here? Feel free to throw out some questions or any input or feedback you care to share. Hammer says, "Glad to be here. I didn't. I'm on a Zoom call for substance use abuse training for PTA. It's getting ready to end. We have the Families United Against Fentanyl Summit on the 30th, and he'll watch later." Okay, fine. 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 That's fine. A hammer is the big brother. I see how it is. And so I see it looks like we only have two thumbs up. And right now we have 15 people in the room. And so, golly, folks, that, you know, help a guy out. So, who else is here? Is there anyone new? Anyone maybe from social media who wanted to tune in and see how we're addressing this cannabis issue? Perhaps anyone who there was. I'm asking because on our Facebook channel there was a lot of really outspoken folks who were very critical of the topic. That based on the thumbnail and a brief little description paragraph alone, they concluded a lot. And I would love to hear from some of those people here where we can have a kind of a more open dialogue. If there's someone who would like to, we may even be able to have you dial in and join us on camera live in a video conference kind of environment, kind of the way TV news sometimes does it. Uh-oh. What does that mean, Cindy? What are you saying? What are you uh-ohing? Cindy? Now I'm intrigued that what could possibly get you to say uh-oh. I'm not seeing much in the way of our usual suspects here. So is there anyone here who might have been at the rally? Thank you, Cindy. Is anyone here who might have been at the rally in Washington D.C. over the weekend? Well, on Saturday. Uh, Anyone here who might have been at that? That it was a, as from what I hear, it was a big big event. I was there last year. We didn't make it this year, and it sounds like that sounds like everything went really well. So that's awesome. Hammer, you didn't know about it until it was posted in your feed. You mean the premiere or the rally? Brad was in that, right? Well, originally he was supposed to be a speaker there, but I believe that Brad and Carla opted not to go because of the government shutdown going on and because of the conflicting protests with the No Kings issue, the No Kings protest that was going on at the same time. It's fascinating to me that a No Kings protest could gain so much attention, not because of the overall message. It fascinates me because uh, there aren't there's no kings here. If there was a king, what's funny to me about it is that peaceful assembly and protest are guaranteed by the Constitution. They're in the Bill of Rights, very First Amendment. And to use your right to protest a form of government that would not give you such a right, there's some sort of basic conflict there. How can you protest circumstance that is governed by a king, how can you, it's just funny to me. I'm not taking a political side as far as party goes or anything like that. My point is just kings don't allow protests. That is what strikes me as a core basic like an oxymoron. Is it just me? Is that there's plenty of things worthy of protest, but to say no kings and then exercise your constitutional right to freedom of assembly, freedom of speech, all of that, to exercise that constitutional right to say no kings, that's just maybe it's just me. But it seems like there's a better way to address whatever issue than to say no kings using a form of expression that is guaranteed to you by a constitutional republic, a democracy. Cindy says Trump wouldn't allow it if he didn't have to. The attorney general even labeled it as hate speech. But it happened. The whole thing happened. Kimberly says, I never heard of no kings. So they would take it away. Well, maybe, Cindy, but that's just making an assumption. It's not really consistent with the other actions of the government. That it's just not consistent. Why, if there was a king environment, why would there be a government shutdown? Why would there be a division in Congress? And why would a division in Congress even matter if there's a king? It doesn't, it's still, it's just not getting the basics. It's cool that the No Kings protest drew out a lot of people. That says something. It says something important. It's just the calling it No Kings is is it's I don't know how to refer to it any way other than to say it's stupid. That it's just to say no kings and to use your constitutionally protected freedom of speech and freedom of assembly to make that statement. So okay, because Trump refuses to give in, he could end it. End what? What is it that he could end? I don't understand. Uh, wow, Sue, you got to be more specific than that. He chooses not to end it. What is it that he would end? He's the one that shut it down, not the Democrats. Well, I've heard that both ways. I don't know how to. I don't really know how to take that. eh, it's the government has a series of checks and balances. I don't think there's any way that that it could. I don't think there's any way that you could uh, narrow it down to one side's fault or the others. That I think neither side is particularly responsible. There is this great animation that shows the voting history of Congress from the 1990s to today. And in that voting history, you see both sides, the red side and the blue side, voting across the aisle less and less as time goes on. Both sides. Both sides. Until and as time goes on, it just gets worse and worse. There's less and less cooperation across the aisle going either direction. And I know that Republicans can look at that and figure out all kinds of excuses to make that entirely the fault of the Democrats. And I know Democrats can look at that and figure out all kind of excuses and make that entirely the fault of the Republicans. But the reality is that before that, Congress didn't work that way. And so ultimately, that division is the people's fault. The people in Congress just want to keep their jobs. When you talk to them privately, they are way different people. It's it's cool how different they are. Anyway, I didn't really mean to get off on some sort of I didn't mean to get off on some sort of political thing, but holy cow, if you think one party is more of a villain than the other, you are not paying attention. It's I wish that Trump can live day on the streets of America. Well, that would be a great educational experience for all of all elected officials, certainly all the members of Congress and the president. Trump has divided the country so much, no one has the balls to stand up to him. Well, maybe I don't. I see a lot of people standing up to him frequently. You hear people complaining about it. The problem is that fear that whatever you say can cost you votes, can cost you your constituency. So they're afraid more than more than anything. But there is I don't I see plenty of people who are not afraid of him at all. Brenda said, "Hello, chatters. I learned so much from all three of Dr. Antler's episodes. Thankful to live in a country where ideas can be freely exchanged." Me too. Me too, Brenda. Except for Harvard. Okay. And is a lot of his it a lot of what's happening is just theatrics. Forward drive, says Kimberly, not without his security detail. Well, that'd be true for any president and any well-known elected official for sure. That that the current president isn't the first president to get shot at. Fascinating, folks. We have 10 thumbs up. Thank you very much. We are probably not going to go all that long. So, Brenda, what is it? 411? 411 days. Is that right, Brenda? Well, here's something that 410. Okay, I didn't mean to throw on an extra day. I just I just had it in my head. We didn't do a live event yesterday, but there was a premiere, and I think maybe you mentioned it in the premiere. I don't know. I don't know. We are living in trying times, but it's going to get a lot worse. Why would you think that? I find it. I think it's. I feel like you attract what you dwell on. If you think that things are going to get worse, they will get worse. If you think things are better every day, it's going to seem like that too. Now the Bible says this. The Bible says not to worry about tomorrow. So it's really a whole lot of being up to interpretation. Holy cow! Okay, we've talked about politics. Now we're on to religion. What's the other one? Or is it just those two? These are family event killers talking about politics or religion. Can I combine fentanyl and addiction? But we have a few recovery stories that are are people who were dealing with an addiction to fentanyl. And so we kind of have in a couple of the recovery stories, not a lot. It's most of our gosh, most of our fentanyl stories don't don't end well. But there is a couple. There's a couple in the I say a couple more than two in the addiction and recovery series, which has about 50 episodes. There's several that involve someone who had a problem with fentanyl. when in history has the future proved to be better? Uh, I think any 20-year period ever is better than the previous 20 years. Does my wife ever come home in the live? Well, this is the Texas Pictures studio at the glamorous Texas Pictures World headquarters. Brad is here. Yes. Yes, for sure. Good job, Brenda. So so my wife is here now. She's here. Come on the live. Yeah. Nah. No, I'll pass along your suggestion and I'll make my best effort to make it a enthusiastic invitation. But I don't think it's very likely to happen. Good to see you here, Brad. When are you going to come to Houston? Hey, we don't have any zippered hoodies. We have pullover hoodies, and I wanted to let you know that we also have self-cleaning coffee mugs like this in our store. Cannabis impaired behind the wheel. Now that I think would be a good important story. In general, impaired driving is impaired driving, and it doesn't really matter if it's cannabis or alcohol or opioids or prescription medication or what. If you're impaired, you're impaired, and you ought to know you're impaired and have the sense not to drive. Is the logic behind the law. Brenda says, thanks, everyone. And yes, it feels amazing to be alive. I have no doubt if I stayed addicted to fentanyl, I would have croaked at some point in the last year. Okay, Brad, we'll try to make that happen. We'll figure out some kind of way to have some hoodies that have zippers. Because it's cool. It's way better. I think it's way better. Actually, I saw some sort of ad for uh, a tactical hoodie. Uh, it seemed cool. It had a lot of pockets. Pockets are great. Pockets have great functionality. But to call that tactical, like, is that is that you have a tactical hoodie just in case some sort of SWAT standoff breaks out while you're having dinner at Applebee's? Is that because then I'm all set because I got my tactical hoodie here. I need to order some hoodies. Yeah, okay. Brad, or grab a hoodie with a zipper. Brad or Drab. I don't. Brenda, I don't get your code there. Brad or Drab, a hoodie with a zipper is called a jacket. It can still be a hoodie, but it's a jacket with a hood and is kind of that elasticy, I don't know, sweatsuit material. Fashion. We're talking fashion. I suppose that's better than talking about how things get better every 20 years. But that is the thing. Every 20-year period is better than the 20-year period before it. 20 years ago, we didn't have the level of communication we have now. And 20 years before that, we weren't even close. 100 years ago, medical care was nothing like it is now. Nothing. 150 years ago, we didn't understand infections. We didn't have running water. A hot shower came along in the last, I don't know, 80 years. No, gosh, Brad, I did it again. I forgot all about emailing Nux. I'm hoping I'll make it happen tomorrow. I am making a big note right here on my Texas Pictures World Headquarters notepad. Nux, the big question mark. That'll make it happen. $100 years ago, there was no air conditioning. There you go. That's another great one. And now, look at what wimps we are. Now, if the air conditioning goes out, we can't even be in the building anymore. We got to go home. We're a species that is indigenous to this earth. We have always survived harsh weather. You can claim global warming, but if you think about how often you watch the news and you do not hear we had a record setting or record breaking high temperature here today, that means it's been that hot before. Fentanyl and mental health series. Yeah, there's we're still kind of trying to figure it all out because there is so much overlap between mental health and addiction recovery and substance use disorder. There's overlap with all of those things, and so finding the connections, they keep presenting themselves a little bit at a time, but we're working on it. And I'm hoping that we will, through this I suppose it's a somewhat peculiar mix of story topics, but there's a whole lot of crossover. Human trafficking, there's usually some sort of substance abuse involved. There's oftentimes some sort of domestic violence involved before the trafficking. Addiction crosses into all those things. Fentanyl crosses into all the things that involve addiction. It is the way everything crosses over is complicated. There's connections between fentanyl deaths and recovery and domestic violence oftentimes involves some sort of addiction. to a some kind of substance, opioids or alcohol or whatever. There's a lot of crossover, and a lot of times those circumstances are first triggered by a mental health issue. Sometimes a mental health issue that involves trauma. No air conditioning, no electricity, or very little, or not that electricity didn't exist, but it wasn't controlled. Brad, I just talked to Carla and she's bawling, telling me she wants Rain back. Oh my God, it kills me. I'm sorry, Brad. I wish there was, I wish there was something that. Thanks, Kim. So, Brad, yeah, I wish, I wish there was something I could do to help you, man. It's a tough spot, and it's supposed to be a good thing that Carla shares that. That's what professionals say, and so that's a good thing. Although I realize it doesn't help. So I'm looking at James Carville on News Nation right now, and the heading is James Carville on American healthcare crisis. And I think the real crisis is that he somehow thinks it's okay to go on national TV dressed like that. So Brenda says she'll start the 5-year plan tomorrow on day 411. I see. Well, that's cool. Brenda says, Brad, tell Carla Rain does not want her to feel so guilty about her death. I don't think Carla feels guilty. It may be. I think mainly it's just missing Rain. But you're right, Brenda. She is making Rain upset. So a bird might poop on her head tomorrow. Wow. Sorry. It's because there's no commercial breaks. We've had this conversation before. So, Brenda, I like your idea. I like it a lot. Um, what a spot, guys! If that were to happen to Carla tomorrow, hey, what a gross thing to have happen to you. Yet it would be cool. So, what a peculiar spot to be in. You have to believe in hope. Kimberly girl, I always see you and smile. I wish I had known you back when I was driving through Memphis every 3 months. I need to send Carla a self-cleaning coffee cup. I'm pretty sure she already has one, Brad. I'm pretty confident she already has one. I'm pretty sure I put it in her hand with witnesses. So So if a bird poops on your head tomorrow, well, that'd be awesome. So things have settled down in here a little bit. Are there some new people in the audience, people who might have some questions for Texas Pictures or for me, or questions about any of our series, fentanyl poisoning, addiction recovery, human trafficking, domestic violence, cannabis-induced psychosis, or impaired driving, or something else, or some idea for a topic we might should address on our channel, some other topic, maybe something about Botox. I don't know. I didn't make it to Memphis on this last trip, and I am hoping that I wind up coming back through Tennessee sometime soon. The only other trip that we have on the schedule for this year right now is Jackson, Mississippi. And anyone who wants to come to Jackson is welcome to. Brad is asking Carla, are you here? Are you here? You know, Brenda had some interesting things to share that they're using cannabis days. And the upside down smiley face. That's good. I like that. That's a nice spirited way to say where you're at. Come to South Carolina. Cindy, have we talked about coming to South Carolina? Do we have we exchanged like messages in Facebook or emails or something about coming to South Carolina? We have talked about South Carolina. We have been all around South Carolina. I've been through South Carolina. And on this last trip, at one point, it looked like I would be in South Carolina. It didn't work out that way. Hi, Carla. Glad you're here. Brenda says, Kimberly, I knew I had to slow down in Memphis so I wouldn't miss the turnoff for Tunica, Mississippi. We have not. Okay. Well, I did. I talked to someone in South Carolina, and we were working on developing a plan for us to shoot there, and it just never got finished. You look like you use Botox. You're 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 kicking a little harder now, aren't you, Brad? I don't know. Something gonna dig yourself in a hole. Ah, because of the youthful look. I see. Yeah. Kimberly said, I was waking and baking. One of our storytellers in our cannabis series talks about wake and bake. Kobe is his name. Redheaded kid, laughs a lot. His story has drawn some pretty hypercritical comments from from cannabis users who are basically just saying, no, you're not. Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. But the way that he responds to the comments is impressive. Is I was baking up marijuana. What were you baking? Yeah. So is there other people here who watch the channel but don't typically chime in? Don't typically have any questions or comments or any of that. Surely there's some people who might have some questions for us. Something, anything. Gosh, Carla. Brenda says that you should take an umbrella if you go outside tomorrow. That seems pessimistic to me. Or is it optimistic? I don't know. I'm kind of pulling for no umbrella, but that's just me. I have this really, really terrible sense of humor. Hello, Risk. Thank you for being here. Glad you could join us. How you holding up, Carla? Well, gosh, thank you, Cindy. So you're in South Carolina. If you want to come to Jackson, Mississippi, you're welcome to. You can see how the event works. But holy cow, it's Jackson, Mississippi. But you're welcome to come to the. It's actually in. Uh, it's a town right outside of Jackson. You can. That's a big honking drive from South Carolina to Jackson, Mississippi. But you're welcome to. Anyone is welcome to. We have a storytelling summit happening in Jackson, Mississippi. In November, I'm going to look it up just so everybody can know. It'll just take me a moment to let. There we go. All right, that's a start, and then I go here to the searchy thing, that, and I type in search Richland. It's in Ridgeland, Mississippi, which is right outside of Jackson. And this will be at the AC Hotel, Jackson Ridgeland, on at 221 Township Avenue, Ridgeland, Mississippi. And we will be there November 21st and 22nd, and probably November 20th as well. Okay, so what? Brenda? What? Cindy, you're going to give Glenn a case of egoitis. Oh, I understand it now. You are one of the gang now. Chats aren't the same without you. All of you guys, Cindy, Kimberly, Brenda, Risk, Nux, if we could ever figure out where she's at, and all the others. You all bring great things to the group. Is Houston a crowded place? That's really not the way to look at it. That I live in Houston, but I do not see much of Houston in my day to day. There is a section of Houston that works for us like a much smaller town where I live on the southeast side of Houston, and the places I go, the restaurants, the whatever, typically are all within 10 miles of where I'm at. So there's not really a lot of dealing with a big city thing, except for when it becomes time to hunt for a job, and then there's a big benefit to that. So anyway, Risk, I know, best typo ever. Brenda, me being mayor will take away from my heartache. I'm running ASAP. Yeah, we'd all vote for you. I mean, it would be pretty illegal for me to vote for an office in Oklahoma, but I could help you with campaign commercials. We could have a good time with that, I'm sure. Carla has talked to kids at schools, actually. And, it's not that she was, it seems wrong to say she was a hit, but she was effective, powerful. And when Carla does have things to say, they're powerful. But look at that. We have been here almost an hour. We should probably wrap this up pretty soon, I think. Carla Bragg can be your campaign manager, and I will be your fixer. Brenda, what the hell does that mean? What's a fixer? Are you going to be the strong arm in the background who cracks people on the head and stuff? So, no, oh, yeah, there's plenty of traffic in Houston, Brad. But there's no traffic in this 5-10 mile circle where I do almost everything that I do. But Houston is also such a hub and such an international city that there is tons of other stuff if you're up for the drive. Yeah. Something happened outside. The dogs got excited about a possum or something. Actually, Brenda, we could use a fixer about now for sure. But that's another story. So tomorrow, I believe tomorrow we will be having a premiere of a new fentanyl poisoning story. And I can tell you guys a little bit about that, I believe. I can make that happen over here. If we look at our channel content, the story that'll be premiering tomorrow is uh, from our shoot in Wiggins, Mississippi. And so let me see what I can tell you guys all about it. Karen Williams of Terry, Mississippi shares a story of losing her son Daniel Wildman Dan Williams to illicit fentanyl after a 13-year battle with addiction that began in high school. Daniel was full of light, laughter, and love, a fearless spirit who brought joy to everyone around him. Despite his struggles with ADHD, self worth, and substance use, he worked hard, sought recovery through programs like AA and Celebrate Recovery, and deeply loved his family. Karen recalls his infectious humor, his kind heart, and her own journey of learning to love him through his pain while setting boundaries and seeking faith-based healing. After finding him unresponsive in March 2022, Karen channeled her grief into purpose, dedicating her life to fighting fentanyl and supporting others in recovery. Through powerful signs and memories, she holds on to the assurances that Daniel's light and legacy of love, kindness, and forgiveness lives on. So that's the description that's with the story that's going to premiere tomorrow. And I sure hope you guys can join us. Does it get, yeah, it gets warm here. But uh, there's a beach nearby. I am about 30 minutes from Galveston, Oklahoma. You got beaches, large bodies of water. We're here for you, Carla. We are really here for you. I think anyone in the room would do whatever it takes to help you. So, Brad, if you would have gone to DC, you would have had a speech, right? Do you have it written out? Do you have it? You want to? We could work it out so that you give the speech here during a live event, we could do that. You could share with our handful of viewers we have right now just what you would have had to say. Can you see that? Brenda says, Carla, it is okay. We all have rough times. Just remember, a burden shared is a burden cut in half. Also, sharing is caring. We got you, girl. But don't go bird watching tomorrow. And Carla, it's okay if you go bird watching. Just maybe bring some baby wipes or something while you're, you know. We're here for you too, Brad. You got to know we're here for you too. It's just a guy thing. It's different. Snipe hunting, no. No, I have no familiarity with snipe hunting. I don't. But I think it is about time to wrap it up tonight. We're all here for you, Carla. We are. You gotta know that. You gotta own it. Brenda says I haven't been on a snipe hunt in years. Huh. Snipe. All right, folks. So we are going to wrap it up. So first, there's queuing up Brenda's wonderful statement that everyone should remember that what you take for granted, someone else is praying for. Riss says, "Now catch me going snipe hunting." All right, folks. So as always, we like to remind people that we're here for you. We really are. You can reach out to us anytime by email at info@texas-pictures.com. You can find us on Facebook by my name, Glenn Muse, or by a company named Texas Pictures. We're on TikTok, and you can also visit our website, texas-pictures.com. And on our website, you'll find all kinds of cool stuff like how to go about sharing your story, how to organize a storytelling summit. There's a link to our company store where you can find all kinds of Texas Pictures merchandise and fentanyl awareness merchandise. And also on our website, you can find out more information about us, like our background and history, find out about other ways to reach us. There's a phone number and there's a mailing address and all of that cool stuff. So we are here for you guys, and we will probably be back here tomorrow evening at some point with a premiere of another fentanyl poisoning story. So thank you very much for joining us, everyone. And we will talk to you next time. Good night for now.